All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another. Well, I don't even want to say another episode, more like a special episode of the Fan Zone, the Football Fan Zone podcast. We're doing a preview of course, the greatest derby in English football, bar none. I'm not trying to hear any of that other stuff. The greatest derby in football, in English football, in British football, the North London Derby between Arsenal and Tottenham. Of course, you guys know me, Chooks, for the regulars. We're always here. We're always going back and forth, always having our agenda. But today, for this special preview, looking forward to the game, we decided to bring in another opinion. As you guys can see, I'm feeling a little ganged up on right now. But I came here. I'm still repping. I'm ready to fight on my ones. So, just to introduce you guys to our guest today, I'm gonna go ahead and give him the floor for him to tell you how he became a supporter of Arsenal. I don't know why, but he's gonna give an explanation of why he became a supporter, tell you who he is, his socials, etc. And also on this show, when we have a guest, we always have you say something complimentary about your biggest rival, whoever it is that you consider to be your biggest rival. It doesn't have to be Spurs, it could be United, whoever it is. Just go ahead and introduce yourself, your socials, how you became a fan, something complimentary about your rivals.
Oh wow. See, that last one's going to be hard, particularly considering the theme of this stream. So first off, hey everyone, my name's Nugwa. My social media handle on X, Twitter, whatever you call it, is at Wakabout number two. So at WAKABOUT number two. And yeah, how did I become an Arsenal supporter? So it was interesting. I'm one of those like stereotypical Nigerian stories, right? Because born in the last year of the 80s, and given my age away here. But essentially growing up in the 90s, and you know, my introduction to football was the Super Eagles. And so just liking Nigeria and watching Nigeria, that was my earliest memories of football. And I realized that there was other football that was happening, but that one was like every weekend. And that's the one I want to watch because that one's more frequent than waiting for Super Eagles, right? And so I was like, okay, so what team am I going to support? I didn't know about any of them. And I'm like, okay, who are the teams in the first place? And so the first thing that came up was like the English Premier League. And then at that point, a certain Kanu Wanko had just been bought from Ajax. And so I was like, okay, I know him from Super Eagles. So I was like, okay, yeah, I guess that's the team. And so that was how I got in supporting Arsenal since 1998. And that's been my team till now. A good thing about Spurs, first of all, there isn't any. So you guys just want me to lie. But if I'm going to lie on this Friday, I guess what I can say is that um, they let's see, they have nice jerseys sometimes. Like sometimes their kits are clean, in my opinion. I don't know, but that's about it. That's about it. But yeah,
That's the craziest compliment that I think anyone has ever said about a rival. I
it's really
think
more about
Janet,
white. Like white is generally just like as a jersey, as an item of clothing. It's generally clean. You can always do a lot with white. So that's really what it is. But
we're,
yeah.
we're taking it. We're taking it. So, on that note, all of the niceties are out of the way. We're getting into the thick of it. We're heading into battle. On this show, you guys already know all the audience, all the commenters, y'all know we don't mince words. We don't let people skirt away from expectations. We don't take excuses. We always put our neck out there and we say what it is. So we're looking into the forecast of the game and some of the major talking points. A lot has happened over the international break. A lot happened before the international break. Both teams are coming into the game struggling for form a bit for different reasons, right? Spurs have dropped points in two winnable games. Um, and the pressure is on the manager to start to get some results, considering the form that we came into the season with towards the back end of last season and missing out on top four. Arsenal, for completely different reasons, coming in with all of these expectations, some major signings that have now picked up knocks. Also, the unfortunate suspension of Declan Rice in their last game, as well as the fact that they ultimately ended up dropping points because of the suspension and are now going into this derby without one of their major talisman. So between the injuries and some of the expectations that have been on both teams, I was going to bring Chooks in, but I think he's having some network issues. I'll start with you, Nugua. What are some of the tactical tweaks? First of all, do you think that Arsenal are currently in an injury crisis and why? And then two, what are some of the tactical tweaks that you would like to see from your manager who's just gotten a new deal going into this game?
So first off, that first question: do I think Arsenal are in an injury crisis? The honest answer is I don't know that I would go so far as to call it a crisis. And the reason is that if you look at the list, go down the list of folks who are presumed to be having one issue or the other. There's through injury. There's Odegaard, who we're still waiting to hear the results of the scan that happened yesterday. There's Mikel Merino, first training session, of course, Arsenal luck. First training session, shoulder. Gabriel lands on him and he's out. There's Calafiore, international break. And then who else really? There was Timber, but I think he played through the international break as well. And he's been pictured in training anyway. So I know he's there. So it's really just those three. And obviously, add to that Declan suspension. It's bad for this game, but if you look at it overall, by the next game, Declan's back, so it's really Odegaard, Marino, and there's options there. So it's not ideal, but we have all our forwards, we have all our defenders. We can move pieces around. I don't know that I would go so far as to say it's a crisis. It's not ideal, but two players, I wouldn't yet call it a crisis. Two real like players that I think would probably be starting. Yeah, not yet a crisis. So that's that on that. With regards to what I would like the manager to do, that my personal thing is that I feel like historically Arteta has always been a defensive coach, and you see it from like the way he started with the team. He started working on our defense before he got our offense firing. In fact, if you look at over 5 seasons now, he's been with us. There's been 2 seasons where we've, without a doubt, had great offensive numbers, and only one season where the fan sentiment was that, oh, we were a great attacking team, i.e., the 2022-2023 season. Last year, we did have great attacking numbers, and that's why I said, yeah, 2 seasons, because last year the numbers were great. I mean, we beat our goals scored record, right? So I can't say that's not a great attacking number, but we did that through set pieces. We did that through quick restarts. We did that through like being a savvy team. And if you look at our actual open play XG, you realize that we actually were, I think it was fourth or sixth. I'm not exactly sure. It's one of them, either fourth or sixth in the league, open play XG created. And so, like, from open play, everybody knew in the Champions League, Thomas Tuchel actually said the same thing, where he said, oh, with Arsenal, we know that their creation is on the right, because obviously that's where we have Saka, Odegaard, and Ben White. On the left, it's not been clear. And that's why all the Arsenal fans were happy we're getting Mikel Merino, because with him, then there's another creative hub with Calafiore or Timber, whichever one you use, that gives that left-hand side some creation like the right-hand side. And so what we would like to see tomorrow in that case is that we don't have that right-hand side creation. Experiment, do something. That's what I would like to see. I would like to see him throw a wrench, a spanner in the works where Ange is not expecting him to play a certain players. Like I feel like I could be wrong. I don't know what the opinion is from Spurs fans, but I feel like everyone knows that there's a very, very big chance that the midfield on Sunday will be Havertz, Jorginho, Partey. And that's just because Arteta defers to seniority. I would like him not to do that. And that's what I would want, because I think there are very, very interesting profiles in that team that can surprise Spurs, particularly with the way they play, committing players forward. So that's what I would like tactically to see on Sunday.
Okay, so kind of what I take from that is you want to see maybe more experimentation with youth. I'm going to bring Chooks in. We still have some more kind of talking points to address, but I wanted to bring Chooks in about going back to the first question that Nugo answered. Do you, in your opinion, think that Arsenal are in the injury crisis? Um, I think Nugo has mentioned some of the injuries. I don't know if Calafiori is going to be ready to go, but um, just considering all the knocks that you've picked up over the international break and from before, do you think that you're in an injury crisis? And what do you think that Arteta should do tactically to kind of counteract the availability that you have going into the game?
Now, I wouldn't call it a crisis. I think it's just part of, or most of our fan base was used to having everyone healthy from last season. So it's a big adjustment when your captain is out for maybe what might be 1 month. The new signing we just brought in got injured before he could even play. And with Jesus, we don't know if he's fit. Calafiori, maybe he might be fit, but I don't think it's a crisis. I feel why people think it's a crisis is just because when you're chasing City, everything you do is always magnified.
Yeah.
But personally, I don't think we're in the crisis. What I want to see on Sunday, I mean, I honestly feel like he's going to experiment because he has to experiment. Is one of the things that I feel he always gets this kind of luck with is he finds new solutions just because of injuries. Without this injury, maybe he might not have ever experimented this whole season. He would just do what he has doing that has got us here. But I honestly feel like I don't want us to play the 4-3-3. I want something fresh. I want to see something different. Like we have all these profiles that can make us so annoying to play defensively, and I think he should stuff that midfield and just make life uncomfortable for you guys. I don't know what that looks like if it will be like a 4-4-2 or a 4-5-1. I definitely want to see Sterling starting. Sterling has to play on Sunday. Havertz has to play as well. He needs to find a way to combine both of them. But I honestly feel like he has more than enough players to go out there and get us a result.
Okay. For me, I think that Arsenal are not in an injury crisis. Of course, I think that the a lot has been made about your depth, and the fact that I believe the last 2 or 3 windows, besides the signing of Rice, I think the last 2 or 3 windows have been towards shoring up the depth of the club. Right. I think that the last time you made a signing that I would arguably say walks right into your starting 11 was Declan, because I think Havertz is in there by circumstance. I think he was in there because Jesus was
Yeah,
dealing with all of
injury,
the injuries and
injury.
never really made the position his own. So I think the last signing that genuinely improved and walked right into your starting 11 was Declan Rice, and he was arguably a replacement for Xhaka in a sense, who was exiting for whatever reason. So I don't think that you're in an injury crisis. I do think that those injuries are poorly timed, of course. And if you have any ambition to go on and accomplish anything, then you obviously need to get some of those guys fit. I think me and Nugar were talking off cam. Arguably by January is when you're going to want to get those guys firing. Um, I'm not going to talk tactics because half the time I don't understand what the guy's doing anyway. But one thing that did happen over the international break very recently, actually, is the guy got a new deal. Now, a lot of fans, a very vocal minority of Arsenal fans have been anti-Arteta since he got appointed, since he got his very first deal. They didn't think he deserved the extension that he got when you missed out on top four 2 years ago or 3 years ago now. And they feel like this deal is rewarding failure because ever since he got his first extension, he has failed to win another major trophy, which you can argue got him the very first extension that he got. So I know the both of you are Tedder in, right? I don't even have to ask that. I don't think his job is anywhere near on the line. He just got a new contract. But where do you stand on this contract that just ended by virtue of extension? But what do you think? Do you feel like this last contract that he got was a success? Do you feel like it justifies the new contract? And what do you want to see by the time he's up for his next contract extension? I'll start with Chooks this time, and then we'll go to Nugua.
One thing Twitter is so good at is never using context to discuss. That's why all the Arteta out guys, if you ask them why Arteta out do, all they'll say is trophies. But if you ask the same guys, oh, you take Ten Hag at Arsenal, they'll be like, no. But I mean, the guy has won trophies. I mean, he's winning Carabao, FA Cup. So it's like what he has done between when we missed out on top four till now is a remarkable job, and I will still back him for the next 3 years. Obviously, you need to win some trophies, but at the same time, the team has to improve. The squad has to be improving. In it's not just like how many trophies did you win, especially when you're going up against City. I mean, we've we've been here the last 2 seasons. It's not for lack of trying. It's not like the guy is finishing third place. We're just going up against something that I've been on this podcast off cam every you hear me say it all the time. These City guys are not normal. What they're able to do in the so-called running, I don't think is normal. But that's his task, and he has to find a way to beat Manchester City or whoever it is going to be at the end of May. But I don't have any problem with the extension. I feel like the guy is perfect for the club. I watched his extension interview. He's hungry to win, and he loves, most importantly, he's someone that loves being here. And for what it's worth, the guy should definitely give him another extension, because a lot of fans don't know. A lot of fans will not appreciate Arteta till he's gone. And then when I be like, oh, we should have kept. You have someone here that was a club captain, loves the club. We've seen how he has handled a lot of like the Oba situation, even Ramsdale. Like he has made some big decisions in his time here, and for the most part, it looks like he's getting them right. As a fan, I would love us to win some trophies so we can kind of shut out all the outside noise. Because once the trophies start coming in, no one, because that's all everyone is using to claim that he has failed is, oh, he doesn't have anything to show for it, and that's just sports. He has to win something. But I'm fine with the extension. I like the guy. I hope he stays here another 3 years. Hopefully with some trophies. At this point, seeing how a certain judge was parading the streets after winning FA Cup and Carabao, Ateta, give me trophy. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, Nugua, take it away.
I mean, so if the first point of if um if he deserved, basically paraphrasing, if he deserved a an extension on what I thought about like his tenure, this part of the tenure that just ended. Um, Obviously, like there's something I like whenever Arteta gets asked about trophies. And recently, at least in the last, let me say 1 year, he's come out more in the media to say things that sound more like, oh yes, we have to win trophies, we have to win trophies. But like for the first, let me say 2 3 years of Arteta's tenure, whenever like anyone pointed in that remote direction, Arteta would always say something along the lines of, um, we have to be better than we were yesterday. We have to be better than we were yesterday. It's something that he always says. And initially, it looks like one of those BS things that people just, those niceties that you kind of hear people say. But then you kind of zoom out and look at from December 20, 2019 till today, and where Arsenal were points wise and what that has looked like. And it's like, okay, we were 56, and then was it what, 61, and then 67, and then 84, and then 89. So when you plot that graph out and look at it and say, okay, maybe it's not BS after all. Arsenal, Ateta's vision of being better, just shall be better than you were yesterday. And that's what he always said. And then he would always say, and if you do that, at some point the trophies will come. Because if you keep going up, obviously progress is not linear. But if you keep going up and at some point you're at 95, one day that 95 will be the highest that anybody in the 20-team league got, and you'll get the trophy that year. And that's the point. Now, in the last year, like I said, the wording has changed because he also recognizes that, look, you're at a point where you should be winning trophies. And I don't necessarily think he has gotten everything right. There are things that even I have disagreed with. As much as I on my socials I sound very Arteta vocal. I do support him. I think he is a blessing to this club right now. I think he has done a fantastic job. I think like anyone who is in his first big role in a big club, he has made some mistakes. But I think one thing I like about him is that as much as it may seem he's stubborn, he's a very, very quick learner and he learns from his mistakes. That's one thing I'll give him. He learns from those mistakes. And as long as he just keeps improving himself, improving the club, the trophies will come. We're fighting against Pep and the machine, really. But at some point, either by virtue of a legal verdict, by virtue of just actually beating them out, or by virtue of the goddamn robot leaving the league, somehow it will happen. And Arsenal will get that trophy. So I'm not worried about that part.
All right, sounds like to me that we're not going to be holding this man accountable for anything anytime soon. So it's all good to me. I'm grateful to Arteta for lowering the standards at the Great North London, man. That's all I'm happy about. I'm glad that you guys have now come over to where we were under Pochettino, and you're just happy to be along for the times. So now that we're all in agreement and we can kumbaya, I don't want to hear anything about Invincibles. I don't want to hear anything about any of those great times because yeah, trophies don't matter. It's just all about fun and brotherhood and passion and loving your club. That's fantastic. So on that note, let's talk about an invincible, Robert Perez, who I happen to know through outside information, happens to be one of Nugua's favorite players in the entire world. And this week, he was doing the rounds on the media circle because he said some controversial things about the beloved Bukayo Saka, who I happen to think is probably going to be leading the team out at the Derby on Sunday, and is arguably one of Arsenal's most influential players right now. Perez had this to say about Saka. He said that Saka lacks a little bit of consistency. And on the conversation of Saka versus Doku, he said that Doku was probably more influential due to dribbling, which is something that Saka has been. This is an argument that has been levied against Saka for pretty much most of his career, is the robotic way that he moves and not giving you that kind of fluid feeling, right? I obviously don't agree with Perez that Doku's a better player or more influential than Saka right now. But I do have some agreement in terms of the fluidity with which he moves and the way that he's able to commit defenders. When I watch Doku play, I feel like he's able to commit defenders just due to like kind of that unpredictability and the fluidity of the way that he moves with the ball. Versus I think Saka is a bit more pragmatic, he's a bit more direct, and he commits defenders just by virtue of his directness and the way that he moves. But what was your take on I know the way Chooks feels about legends, speaking on Saka specifically, because we heard his thoughts about Ian Wright. So I want to start with you, Nugua, because this is one of your favorite players, period. How did you receive those comments? Did you feel like he was hating because Saka is in some people's all-time team? Like, what do you think? What do you think that was about?
So here's the thing, right? Perez, the comments were. Let me start here. He is my favorite player of all time. Period. But the comments they were very off key, and they were very off key because it's hilarious because I understand what he was trying to say and not essentially what got reported. If you look at Saka's goals, now, first of all, so let me first start with debunking it. The comment was BS, right? Jeremy Doku got 3 goals last year in the league. He got 8 assists. Saka had 16 goals and what, 9 or 10? 9 assists because Odegaard got 10. So you can't even compare. Like, based on numbers, like they're not in the same galaxy. Put that to one side. I see what Robert Perez was trying to say. Now that I've already established that they're actually not in the same galaxy, a lot of people will think about the big Saka moments last year, and they'll tell you they probably remember just as many big Jeremy Doku moments, either by goals or assists, right? Even though the overall numbers, you can see that Saka dwarfs him. It's more than 2 times his own, right? And I think that's really where Robert Perez is coming from. Because, okay, of his 16 goals, Saka had what, for 5 penalties? 11 were NPGs. So 5 penalties, 11 were NPGs. And of those 11 NPGs, Saka scored in bunches quite a bit. Where of those 11, he would score like in a 3 week span, maybe score 3 or 4, and then go another 4 week span with maybe just 1 or 2 assists in between, and then 2 other games with nothing. So it it felt much more pronounced than it actually was, like his contribution. Like a lot of people would, let me put it this way, I talked to someone who actually said he didn't feel like Saka contributed, that he understood why Saka wasn't put in the team of the year and blah blah blah. And then we started talking numbers. I'm like, Saka had 16 goals and 9 assists. Like, he had 16 goals. I'm like, exactly. So I understood why it felt like that, because during the season, if you look at our last, I think our last 10 games, Saka scored 2 non-penalty goals. So it felt very, for example, Trossard, who had just the same amount as him, felt a lot more clutch, particularly towards the end, him and Havertz, right? So that's where Robert Perez was coming from. He said it the wrong way, and I don't agree with what he said. 100% Saka is a lot more, he produces a lot more than Jeremy Doku, but it came more along the lines of, if you are the man, I should be feeling more like you are rescuing us a lot more, where it doesn't always necessarily feel like that, particularly in the running with Arsenal. That's all I'll say.
I'm pretty sure Chooks will disagree with you on this, so I'm gonna go ahead and let him have the floor. Let's have our first civil war.
Hey, firstly, Arteta didn't reduce no standards. You Tottenham G's finished second once, and your standards slowly regress after that.
Oh, so
Just
more second place finishes. Fairs,
just get
fairs,
that
fairs.
out of the way.
When is the parade? When is the parade for the second
I
place
want
trophy?
trophies coming in it.
All right, cool, cool.
So yeah, let's get that out of the way. Secondly, Perez is saying nonsense. Same with how the other legends keep saying nonsense. And what pisses me off about the so-called legends, right, is nobody holds them accountable for the nonsense that they say. How do you watch an 18-year-old boy that came into this team and has been consistent? He is the sole reason. Him and Smith Rowe are probably the two sole reasons why we got out of the trenches. And you sit up there to mention names like Jeremy Doku. That sometimes, like, I don't know if this is a way to, like, maybe ginger Saka, but it's like, you guys talk to him personally, so you could probably tell him all these things, but it just doesn't make sense. I don't see where his point is coming from, because Saka is our best player, has been our best player for the last 3-4 seasons, will keep being our best player. He's going to be our captain on Sunday, and Perez is comparing him to Doku. Of all the comparisons, I don't even know if that's the worst I've heard so far. You're comparing him to Doku. Yeah. I don't know what Perez was smoking. I hope we give Perez the right treatment. Don't let all these guys come back into the Emirates, man. There should be a levy for saying nonsense like this. Of what they put to compare Bukayo Saka to, well, was supposed to be putting him in the same chat as Salah. Only him and Salah have scored or assisted all the goals their teams have scored this season. And I'm hearing Doku. I'm hearing Jeremy Doku. Nah, I don't know what Perez was saying. What point he was trying to make is nonsense. The guy needs to either go back and rewatch the last 3 seasons for him to go and reshape that point. But comparing Saka to Doku is rubbish.
Did you want to chime in, Nuba?
No,
Defend
no,
your boy,
I don't.
brother.
I mean, I said what I said from the start, right? Like, I don't disagree that point is rubbish. Like, it's not. That's why I first started with stats. Like, it's not. They're not. Doku and Saka are not mates. Like, I'm not. There's no, leave that one. That one was off. The point I was just trying to make was, if you actually look at the full interview, it really was more along the consistency talk came really more along the lines of, like, feeling like he's always delivering you when you need it, where it doesn't always feel like that with him. Where, for example, the person who I was saying he's in the same bracket with Salah, it feels like Salah is always delivering Liverpool when they need him. right? So like I think for me that's I like it's personal. I give him a pet name. I call Saka Nwachukwu just because of the godson thing that he does. And I'm like, for me, I would like Nwachukwu to get to that next level where you become the Salah of your team. And this season, that's what he's been, right? So like that's what I want. Where so far Arsenal has scored what 5 goals, and he has had a hand in. Well, no, we scored 5. He's had a hand in 4, right? Because it was what 2-2-1. So
He's,
yeah.
he's had a hand
So
in every goal. Either he
how
scored
do
or he
wait?
provided
The
assist.
trusted one. I don't think that was credited as a direct assist. He
Oh,
crossed the
Yeah.
ball that led to the goal, but it
Well,
got
no, but I
deflected.
mean, even for that one, personally, I would still consider that like
that's the soccer assist because it came
it
from him.
was still him. It was still
Yeah.
him, right? So like the
If,
Aston Villa
if,
one,
if, if that if
but
that's the case, you boys owe me a lot of Kulusevski assists because guys were running Kulusevski
no, no, no,
numbers to me
that's
all
not.
last season.
I'm not
Brother,
trying to. I'm not trying to be.
you
I'm
see,
not trying to be pedantic here. I'm not trying to harp on that. My point is, even like remove it from the official numbers. The point is, all 5 goals Arsenal have scored this season, Saka has done something to make that goal happen, and that is the point where this is what I think Robert Pires wants him to be. This is what I want him to be, where he becomes that now Salah for us, where as long as Arsenal are going to score, or as long as Arsenal are going to put the ball in the back of the net, Bukayo Saka's hand will be somewhere near it, even if it's not the goal, even if it's not the assist, even if it's the pre-assist, somewhere he did something to make that goal happen. And I think that's the next level for him.
That's
yeah,
fair. That's
my
fair. All I know is Perez delivered an invincible trophy and he's being banned from Emirates. That's
my
wild to me. He's being banned for a boy with dinner plates and vibes and smiles. It's all good, man. It's a new era for the Arsenal, bro. This is what I love that instead of rising to your level and challenging you guys, we just dragged you guys down with us. Let's fight, man. Let's fight about good memories. We're doing dogs now. I don't know if you guys have seen. We've joined, bro. I love this brotherhood, bro. This is better than fighting for trophies or anything like that.
oh, don't
Let's
compare my
fight over
stuff
dogs.
to any Doku or Kulusevski or whoever else you want to call. They really should ban Perez from coming to that stadium. There's no way you are invincible and you're saying that. And
Speaking,
my own thing with the whole consistency talk too that pisses me off, right, is if you watch football with your eyes and not stats, every good thing that has happened since we started challenging for titles has come from one particular side of the pitch through one particular boy. And you now sit up there and what annoys me too is, oh, if you want to say, okay, Saka, you need to we need to feel your impact in the running because we haven't felt it. Compare him to someone that has done it and not Jeremy Doku or Kulusevski or Kopama or Anthony or any other young player that starts playing well and they just throw Saka's name into that stuff. It's
that's
so annoying coming from our own legends. That's why if every legend can be like Henry, I'll respect it. If you know you don't have anything good to say, don't just talk. That's what Henry did for the longest. And then when you start talking, it's only positives. Because that's what these boys need. They don't need you coming out here calling Saka a left back or comparing him to Jeremy Doku. I just don't see how that can be productive. Seeing how Saka has been moving, dude, we might never see Perez on that IG page again. See how Saka got here right band. That's my
Saka.
star boy.
This Saka used to be a nice young lad that would smile at the legends, and now he's getting guys banned. But speaking of
Watch this in his
bans,
villain arc. Like this season, he's been moving very interesting. Like he was walking off the Villa park, he was shushing the Villa fans. I'm like, what's happening? This guy, something's happening this season.
he's on a mad one, man. His mom is no more making jollof. That's guy. He has grown wings. But speaking of bans, on a more serious note, on the Spurs side of things, we got the news that Rodrigo Bentancur is facing a pretty lengthy ban. They're talking about 12 games if this comes down without appeal, for his comments during the offseason about his own teammate Heung-min Son, which were interpreted to have racial undertones or undertones of racism or discrimination, or at least at the very minimum, just ignorance about them. Um, I spoke about it when it happened, even when nobody else was really like making it like a big deal. I think the club should have suspended him just to send a message. And it's like, yes, Sonny is a nice guy. He's a smiling, everything's all good, all golly gee whiz type of guy. So of course he wasn't going to make it a big deal. But I felt that the club owed a responsibility to the large set of Asian fans that we have, and it doesn't even really have anything to do with Asians. It's just when people are on towing that line of racism or whatever it is, I think it's good to send a strong message. And I would have liked to see him at least miss the first two games of the season or something like that, bare minimum. But now we've left it in the hands of the FA, and it looks to be a lengthy ban. I don't know if they'll uphold it. I don't know if he's going to appeal it. We'll see what comes down from that. But I just wanted us to touch on that real quickly. Going into the derby, I think he's probably going to be available for selection. So we don't know. We know he's already facing a international ban for his role in the kerfuffle that they had after the Uruguay Colombia game. So it's just been a nightmare of an offseason for the guy. But as rivals who, generally, I guess, don't care for the guy one way or the other, what is your serious kind of like feelings towards the ban? And is that something that you would like to see in the game where when players are towing that line, that they get these hefty kind of like significant bans for racism or anything of that nature? I'll start with Chooks.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know, it's with like Asian racism, not not to say oh like we're categorizing racism. Sometimes like I like his comments. What exactly did he say that was the racial remarks again?
They were talking about Sonny, and he started saying like, oh, it could be his cousin or his brother, or whoever. Like, it doesn't matter. They all look the same, and that was kind of where the thing got blown up. Basically, what he was trying to say is that all Asians look the
Yeah,
same,
all
which
Asians.
is
I
a
mean,
which is
that's
a common trope that really gets passed around. And Asians have been particularly like standing against that because it feels like it feels like an erasure of their own individuality and their identity as people. I
yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where it's I feel like it was a joke. Obviously, I don't think he said it in an intent to be racist. But then again, like whether it's a joke or it's not a joke, he should be punished. But I feel like it's one of those cases where it was just a bad joke. Also, because you guys I've been to your stadium before. The amount of Asian fans down there is crazy. So already, like I feel like Tottenham probably has the biggest Asian fan base right now. So they too are probably not going to be happy. And you know, as everyone says, you just have to hold that. You guys should have done something to. At least, I think if people had suspended him or punished him, he wouldn't have gotten to this point. But yeah, since nothing was done, everybody has to be smarter. That's why people get media trained. You don't just get, especially as a top player, you don't just get in front of a mic and start cracking jokes. Not those kind of jokes too, especially. But with regards to him playing, I don't know, man. Bentancur is either always injured, suspended, or something. So if you guys don't have him for 12 games, I don't think you would really feel the impact. The guy's never around. It's like us having Gabi Jesus suspended for some racial remarks. Like, oh wow, the guy was not going to be here regardless. So I don't know. He should get punished, and you guys need to media train all your South American players because those South Americans they've had an interesting summer.
It's been bad. It's been
Yeah,
bad.
they've had a very scary summer from how poor Copa America was to all the fighting, then the whole the song, the chants. Yeah, those guys have they've just had a mar.
Yeah. Nugu, I chime in quickly, and then we need to get to the combined 11, which is the meat and the potatoes. That's what we're trying to get to.
That one's gonna be interesting because it's gonna be based on who's available or not. That's what's gonna be determinant there. Anyways, for the thing with Benson Kerr, I think to Chix's point, it's about sending a message, and especially when you have a business that's a brand at this point, like your revenue is determined by those people spending money buying your merch, coming to your stadium, buying, making you as popular as you are, buying your tickets when you go outside the country, giving, you the opportunity to make all those millions you make from those summer tours, and you want to make sure that everyone who's a stakeholder in that brand partnership, because it is a partnership between the fans and the club, and you want to make sure that everyone who is a stakeholder in that brand partnership gains from that partnership and isn't harmed by that partnership. And so when one of your own players is seen to be the one that is saying something, whether you like it or not, Bentancur represents Tottenham Hotspurs. And so that is a betrayal of that brand partnership between those fans, not just Asian fans, fans who feel like discrimination is not something that should be in the game, and Tottenham Hotspur. And so Tottenham did have an obligation to act. And I think to Chix's point, the fact that they did not, the fact that it seemed, at least externally, like they did not, makes this upcoming ban and talk of a ban a lot more justified, at least in the eyes of the neutral, because then it becomes a case of, okay, yeah, he may have apologized eventually when the outcry, got loud, but yeah, the club didn't necessarily see it as a big deal. And so I know Tottenham probably does see it as a big deal. I'm not saying they don't, but I'm saying like it starts to look that way when action isn't taken, and especially for something like racism, where the Premier League is big on kicking it out. This is just, I guess, what then tends to happen. It would have probably been good if maybe he got suspended for the first, I don't know, 2-3 games. Maybe the league wouldn't have seen it as like seen it fit to double punish him or something. But that's a story for another day. And yeah, that's I think that's
yeah. To be fair, when it happened, I think the club did address it. They put out a statement. They said there would be education, but people wanted a more strong position. And ultimately, I think the both of you are right. When you don't take that position yourself, you open it up for the FA to then step in, and they don't have your best interest at heart. So you just kind of have to hold that. Let's get into the combined 11. Speaking of criminals that are going to be on the pitch, we've got Bissouma, Partey. All of these guys are going to be available. So let's get into the combined 11. We're going to be doing it. Obviously, we can't really say form because the season just started. So I'll say everything comes into play: ability, reputation, what you've been known to accomplish in this league. All of that comes into play.
So,
but
like,
availability is going to be right. Availability is going to be the one major thing. And honestly, with Odegaard out of the picture, maybe finally matters can finally have a look in on this team. But no. That's
I mean, if he's saying availability, then okay, we don't have Declan, we don't have Odegaard.
Nuga spoke about what you could never interest you in.
All right, we will end the episode and we'll all be going about our merry way. If I have to hear about an Igbo man named Ethan, let's be serious here. Let's be serious. I want to start from the goalkeeper, because we're gonna have more confusion and more debate the further up the pitch that we get. Well, maybe not so much. Chooks knows the way I feel about my attack, but let me see if I can do it some justice. For goalkeeper, I'm going to come right out and say this, and no Spurs fan out there will say this, right? Just to make this a quick, long story short, closed case, is Raya. I'm sorry. Last season, I would have argued that Vicario deserved to be the goalkeeper in the combined 11 in both fixtures, because I thought he had the better season in terms of being his primary duties, being a shot stopper, preventing opportunities, coming out of his box and clearing, being a last man. Kind of has that Manuel Neuer in him, where he can stream all the way to almost the halfway line and clear the ball. But honestly, his weaknesses have been very appalling this season. He's been very poor in distributing the ball. He's been almost horrible in claiming crosses. He looks shaky. He doesn't inspire confidence. And his shot stopping is still decent. But I think that when you're the goalkeeper in a system like that, evaluating you becomes more about how much you bring to the attack and less about how much you prevent goals. It sounds weird. Yeah, a goalkeeper is being evaluated more by how he gets the team forward. Yeah, unfortunately, when you play in that kind of system, which is about scoring goals, it's not about preventing goals, because there's no defense to begin with. So I don't care how many shots you can save, because we're going to be facing clear-cut chances anyways. We don't need a shot stopper. We need someone that can help us constrain teams more and create better chances. And he's been very, very, very poor at that to start the season. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys Raya. Does anybody have the carryover Raya? First of all, I don't think either of you will.
Nah.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. I mean, I knew I wasn't dealing with people that would be even nice, anyways. But I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys Raya, and that's just based on my own dissatisfaction with the way Vicario has started the season. Now we go to right back. I'm sorry, it's my boy Poro, bro. I'm not hearing that. I'm not hearing that Benny Blanco stuff. It's my boy
Right
Poro.
back.
Blanco.
Yeah,
I mean, right
Yeah,
back has to be Ben White.
it has to be Blanco. So like
Yeah.
the thing, my thing with Poro is this: like you are good attacking, you are not a great defender, and you are worse at being not a great defender than Ben White is. Because I know Ben White has a reputation of being like against the top 1% of wingers, he's not great. Well, Poro can get beat by not just the great top 1%. Like I may give you that Ben White argument, against like the top 10% of wingers, but against the remaining 90%, Ben White will play a great game. Like in a season, you're not expecting Ben White to get stripped in more than maybe 4 games, and one of them is a Marcus Rashford game. Like, yeah. So I'm still taking my Ben White defensively, and offensively, he does just as much as Poro. He did more
Oh
last
no,
season.
see, that's where I disagree. The same gap that exists defensively exists offensively. Poro is a top 1%er of fullbacks in the world in terms of what he can do
What were
offensively.
his numbers last season?
It, to me, it doesn't even matter the
I
numbers,
mean,
and I think he did have good numbers, but
I test.
it's
I
I
actually see
test.
what you're
There's
saying.
there's
Yeah,
no
Poro,
pass that he can't make. He's
Poro.
he's he's literally our build up piece in terms of being able to create chances from deep. I'm not hearing it.
Okay. Wait, there's one
As a
way.
fullback, I'm
There's
taking Ben White. I'm
there's
sorry.
one way. There's one way to settle this. So I say, let Arsenal fans and Tottenham fans, we have one free voucher that can overrule the whole thing, and you put in there. Do you want to use it on Puro?
I'm using my voucher on Poro. That's how much I believe in Pedro, because
All right.
I'm probably going to agree with you on some of the other positions, but on this one I knew there would be, because I understand Benny White. Last season I gave Ben White his flowers. I said he was the best right back in the league over the entire campaign. I give him that. But the Pedro Porro that has started this season, and with some of the pedigree that he came with from Sporting City Academy, his offensive talent, I look at him the same way I look at a Trent Alexander-Arnold in terms of, yeah, sure, you might have some positional issues, you might have some 1v1 defending issues. I get that. But what you can do with the ball at your feet is so game breaking and is so problematic for the opposition to deal with that it offsets any of that. And also, the system exposes his flaws anyway. It's not like we're doing anything to combat any of his defensive liabilities. We're just completely leaving him out there on the island. So I'm just going to go ahead and disregard the goals that we're conceding. And I'm saying that my boy Poro, what he brings offensively, cashing in my voucher. Cashing in my voucher. He's getting in the team. I'm sorry.
You catch the voucher, no problem.
So wait, do you both each get one, or do you get one together?
No,
Because that would be unfair.
we get one together.
Okay.
Okay.
Because what we can also do is give me another voucher, and then you guys each get one voucher. That way, you don't have to be in agreement to use it.
Nah.
All right.
Let's
All
leave
right.
it like
Cool.
this.
Cool. So I got Paro. We're gonna do this. We're gonna go ahead and do left back first, because center back pairing, I feel like it's gonna be interesting. But left back, I'm putting my boy Destiny. I don't know what's going on with your left back
Yeah,
situation, but
I have Destiny in mind as well.
who's your left back? Who starts there? Because is Timber
So
going to be available? Is
Calafiori is
Calafiori
not
going to be
ready to
available?
be a starting left back, and that's the only reason why. Because I have zero doubt that by the end of this year, Calafiori will be our starting left back, and if he is, he's better than Destiny Udogie. So, but I'll give
But
it.
what do you mean? What do you mean if he is? He's better than Destiny.
I'm saying if he is, like, obviously if he becomes a starting left back, which again he will, but we just bought him. We're begging him. He's played the first 3 games. He's just come in. I don't think he played the first one, but the second one and third
Is
one.
he even? Is he available for this game anyway?
That's
He
also
did
a
pick up a
question.
knock as
I'm
well.
not even sure if he is. So yeah, so that's why I'm like, don't worry, you can get Destiny. Don't worry, you can get the Beanie Boy.
All right. So center back pairing. Let's start with LCB. I think LCB is particularly interesting because I've been Gabriel's biggest defender as a non Arsenal fan. I think he gets aesthetic bias against them because he's not a very attractive guy, and somehow in recent times you actually have to be attractive to be a defender. The ugly guys used to run to defense before because that was where they were appreciated. And now the same pretty boy bias has come and enveloped the whole team. But I'm a big fan of Gabriel. I think he started the season poorly. Um, I don't think this has been his best stretch by any stretch of the imagination, and I think he should have got punished more in the Aston Villa game. If we're gonna go and ahead and talk context, he didn't concede any goals there, but games like that are the reason why guys used to doubt this guy 2 years ago. I say all that to say, I don't think Mickey has started the season particularly great either. He's been good. That drive with the ball, that was fantastic, but the system just doesn't do him any justice. So I'm gonna go ahead and say Gabriel has more credit in the bank, and I'll concede and I'll give Gabriel the position. Did any one of you guys have Mickey over Gabriel? Because I know there's a lot of Arsenal fans who aren't satisfied with Gabriel.
No, it's Gabby.
Gabby, Nugua.
It has to be him. It has to be him. Off the season, he just had a fine first 3 games, whatever. But my thing with the first 3 games is nobody has seen the Arsenal that we want to be this year. And so, like, it's not an excuse. I still expect a title race, and a title hopefully at the end of it. But you're not going to see the Arsenal that is going to be known for this season until the 1st of December, because Merino will have to be back. Declan is going to be at 6 this year, and that was the plan, and Odegaard. And so, like, that's the team that I hope we take into January and into the run-in. And so until then, I will see holes in the Arsenal team because Thomas Partey is not who he used to be. His legs are not what they used to be. And so when he plays, it's either going to be him or it's going to be Jorginho. And both of them have their own issues. And so we're going to be whatever we're going to be till mid-November, late November. And then we'll start to become the team we want to be. And so until then, whatever happens this season happens, right? I say that to say that, yes, it is Gabriel, because even though Aston Villa happened, the team is going to be whatever it's going to be for a while. So I'm not worried about it.
I'm over here muted talking. That's fair enough. I think so. We're all in agreement on Gabriel. I know Spurs fans are going to be very angry at me because Mickey's one of the more beloved players at Tottenham, and I think he has a high ceiling. So I don't want people to think like, oh, I'm just about to concede on every position, but I think that Mickey has some ways to go, especially on the ball. So I just want to see a little bit more from him, and I thought that Gabriel has been underrated anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you that. For RCB, I'm sorry, World Cup winner, the best defender in the world currently, and arguably, in my opinion, one of Argentina's top 5 defenders, period. They can't stop talking about him. His streak is ridiculous. When he's on the pitch, they just don't concede. He's the talisman of our team, the best forward passer, I think, one of the best forward passers in world football from the center back spot. I'm going Romero, and that's it.
Hey, man.
There's no universe. Let me drop my American accent. There is no universe that exists where William Saliba is benched for Romero. Take it to the bank.
Which is why France didn't win a World Cup. They should have benched them. If they had Romero, they win that World Cup.
Look, William Saliba is a generational player. He is, if you look at his numbers, he played every single minute of the Premier League last season. He was the kingpin in the best defense in the league. There is nothing you just praised Romero for that Saliba cannot do. Is it his on ball? Is it his ability to play the ball? Is it his one-on-one defending? Is it his aerial ability? What is it that Romero does to an elite level? That
Saliba's not good on the ball. I'm not hearing that. That's a myth. He's not.
Did he just say Saliba is not good on the ball?
He's good at carrying it, but he's not a good forward passer.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm not hearing it.
No, but let's use our voucher, man. I don't want to be hearing about Coutinho.
Yeah, let me just use the voucher because I'm done.
Yeah, give us center back pairing, the best center back pairing in the league.
How are we arguing this?
Romero. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
Uzo, you want the back four to be three Spurs players,
Yes.
and Arsenal had the best defense in the league last year. Are you hearing yourself?
It was systematic, and I mean, I don't think that individually those players are better. That's why I've been on my coach. I'm sorry. If you let any one of us build a team, you're not taking Ben White over Porro. You're not taking Zinchenko over Destiny. You're not taking.
I'm taking Calafiori over Destiny. That's what I'm doing.
Honestly, I would have taken the whole four Spurs back. I'd let y'all have Gabriel.
I'm taking Calafiori. I'm even taking Timber, but it's just that I still want more from Timber offensively. Defensively, I love him.
Now that's just if you watch Destiny and you don't think that he's better than those guys, then I'm sorry. I don't know what else. Those guys haven't done anything in the Premier League. They're completely unproven.
So your argument is that in the Premier League, they've not done anything. I can give you that. Because obviously we've not seen enough of Calafiori.
Calafiori has barely done anything in his entire career.
I've seen enough. We've seen enough as Arsenal fans in his cameos to know that, okay, that's how
he's going to do fine within the system because the system always overhypes the guys that are in the system because the system is excellent. And it pains me to say that, but the system is excellent. That's why guys like Jorginho can even look good in this system. Jorginho is a stripper normally. He can't guard anybody. But in this system, he's viable. He's a viable option. Am I right? Because he has the stability of the system behind him. Saliba's a fantastic talent. And I think in 3-4 years, he'll be unquestionably the best defender in the world. I agree. But as of right now, to me, the best defender in the world, besides Antonio Rudiger, is Christian Romero. And it's not even just like banter. It's like he's won the World Cup, won the Copa America, and cycled through it again. And they're looking like they're going to go on to be a relevant force again in the World Cup. And he's been the anchor of that defense.
Why
so I have to give him his props.
Performance the determinant here?
I mean,
only about 1/5 of the season in terms of number of games played.
That's fair. That's fair. So you used your voucher. You guys got Saliba in there. I'm not happy about it, but I want Spurs fans to know Christian Romero, bro. He deserves to be in this. He deserves to be in this combined 11. But let's move on to I don't know if it's DM. We both play with a DM, I guess so to say. We both play with a DM.
Play with a DM. Yes.
So let's do DM. Let's do DM.
I'm weeping.
So you said we're doing this based on who's available and who's available this Sunday.
Right.
So because I guess if unavailable, then we don't have Declan.
Please give me.
You have Jorginho and Partey. You don't have Bissouma, right?
We may or may not have Bissouma. I wouldn't. Bissouma wouldn't be my pick anyway.
Give me an injured Bissouma, man. my eyes are bleeding without Declan Rice.
So no, I think Thomas Partey.
This is one where I think we're all gonna have a different name.
Well, let me give you why. So first of all, obviously, without Declan, I've already like I don't care about whoever we end up picking, right? Because my answer would be Declan. But my argument for Thomas Partey is based on the fact that he didn't look good in the first game, in my opinion. The second game was he looked great on the ball, and off the ball, he did not look good. That he scored, right? But he looked good on the ball, even before his goal. Off the ball, I mean, he was going up against Rodgers, who that's a tank. He'll do that to Rodgers will do that to 90% of the DMs in the league. I think so. So let's start there. But I think that the Brighton game, in as much as we drop points, and I think he had a hand in dropping of points because he didn't follow Pedro Porro into the box. I recognize that we had 9 men, and so we already were overloaded anyways. And Thomas Partey, in my opinion, played one of the best games I've seen him. Like right after that red card, till the end, where we played with 9 men. Thomas Partey played one of the best off-the-ball games I've seen from him in more than a year. And I only say that because I went back to watch it because I was angry during the game because of the red card. I didn't really see the rest of that game. But when I went back to watch it, and that's my argument where I think if Thomas Partey that can do that, with what we already know he can give on the ball, is probably the best available DM out of the options that are available this weekend.
Um, my perspective is criminal for criminal. I would just rather get somebody in there with a clean bill of health. I want somebody that doesn't have a record with the local police. Let me go ahead and give me J5, give me Jorginho. I don't care, honestly. Like I don't want to see any of these guys with questionable character that boot the ball to Rosie. All these African uncles that we've got in the club. I'm good. I Guys know how I feel about Bissouma. I don't think he's a serious player. I don't think he's a player that you have in a team that's trying to contend or win anything. Um, Partey, I like them. I think he's past his prime. Honestly, I just don't think he's athletic enough. I don't think he can. I don't think he can do the same things that he could once. Um, Jorginho is in the same boat, but to be fair, he never had no athleticism. He never did. I think he's a regista. I think he can control the game, and I think with the defense that you'd have behind him, I think to me he's the best available option. So we've got Nugua with Partey, we've got me with Jorginho, and we've got Chooks with Basuma. So honestly, that one, nobody. This is one where you don't use a voucher. We can put the three names in a pot, draw a random name, and call it a day.
Bisuma is fine. Especially since in this formation we're setting up, whoever is in DM is going to be there by themselves. Please give me the younger, more mobile man. Let him sag his knicker.
You think? You think he's mobile? You think he's mobile?
Brother. The thing is, Partey. Have you watched Partey this season? Bro, they said
he's old. He's obviously old.
Partey. Aha.
And he's older. He's older than whatever age, which is already old. You're muted. You're muted.
I'm sorry. See, that second game looked bad. It looked very, very bad. But my argument is that Morgan Rogers would do that.
But even the fighting game, that João Pedro goal, that's one thing Rice does that's underrated. He never gives up on the ball. He will chase. He will keep running. You saw Partey jogging as though it was concluded that we're going to win that possession. Please, I do not want to see Partey anywhere near that DM position. And it's sad that that's what we're likely going to see on Sunday. Please give me Bissouma. Yves.
All right, let's leave the dusted positions. Let's do LCM. Let's do LCM because we're gonna come to CAM eventually. LCM for you guys, which is RCM for us, because our CAM operates in the left half space, your CAM operates in the right half space. Ultimately, we don't care. Just CM, the guy that's not the CAM. For me, based on availability, I think it has to be Bentancur. I think he's the best central midfielder that we have at our club. Special shout out to my guy Lucas Bergval. You guys be on the lookout for him. But for now, I think Bentancur is who I'm going to put forward. Who's available for Arsenal first of all, and is there even an argument?
I mean,
it's hard for there to be an argument.
Hold on, Nuga. He's the same guy that didn't want hoodlums on his team. Maybe he didn't just want black men. Because there's no way you said you don't want hoodlums and you just threw in a South American that has been fighting the whole summer and slick racially abusing his teammates. Anyway, carry on.
He did commit a crime technically. Technically, it's not a crime. It's not a criminal act. This other guy was smoking balloons, and the other guy, he who shall not be named, did what shall not be named. So let's be guided. But no, I mean, I think Benta is the only choice, really.
I got to say there's nothing else to
even. The cupboard is kind of
The only other argument that you could want to put would be Havertz in midfield, but
I don't think that's where he's really been the most effective, even for you guys. So
no, but on Sunday there's a very good chance that he's going to play in midfield for us. But I don't disagree. Where if you want to put Bentancur, I'm not going to argue.
Okay. For Cam, it pains me. It pains me to have to put Madison in, because guys know I have a Madison agenda as well. It seems like I hate half my team, but it's really not the case. I like a lot of the fringe players more than I like the established starters, but it has to be Madison just because I don't know who else is available. Obviously, if Odegaard was available, I think that.
And this is why, I don't think I agree with the Bissouma thing because it's like it has to be one of Jorginho or Partey because I'm not taking an all Spurs midfield. I am just not doing that.
I mean, I said Jorginho. I said Jorginho. So
So
it can be all Spurs midfield because we get played through way too easily. So if that's the midfield, then
like so
that's a,
I'm still going with Partey. I'm holding hope that once we have Declan Rice back and Calafiori beside him, they will be able to give the legs that we need defensively, and then he can do what he can do offensively. And we'll be
I mean,
fine.
no, I don't think either of us are gonna fight you on whoever you choose at DM. As long as somebody has a jersey number and a T-shirt, it's one of those ones where
I can say Jorginho just to make it like okay, we both agree on that. So Jorginho,
yeah.
you know what,
Let's do Jorginho. Let's just have someone that has
Jorginho.
that knows that they're limited physically because I don't think Partey even knows that he's lost it. The guy's still running around thing.
He does
Still
not.
running around trying to throw his shoulder. Guy, you're gonna dislocate everything.
Yeah.
So we've got the midfield set. Jorginho, Bentancur, and Madison. What a bottom tier midfield that is. But now we get into the attacking portion of the pitch. I don't think there's any really need for conversation at right wing. I think Saka pretty much has owned that position. I think there's not many teams that you would do a combined 11 with where God's son doesn't take that position and make it his own. So just gonna go ahead and say Saka out of the way. Saka got it. Let's do striker because I think left wing will be interesting. Let's do striker. I'm saying Dominic Solanke because he's been made available by the coach. I think he's the best striker. I think even with whatever available strikers that Arsenal can put forward, even if everybody was healthy, I'm still taking Dominic Solanke because that's how much I believe in his ability. I think he's coming off of the back of a very good season. I think he was top 3 strikers in the league last year. And he's looked bright in his debut with us. Unfortunately, he had to miss out on a couple games after. But I don't know. Where are you guys at? I'm going Dominic Solanke number 9.
No, I mean, I'm going to have it. Havertz just gives you a lot more than what Big Dom can give you for.
What do you mean a lot more? Big Dom is better on the ball.
I don't think so. I don't think
Havertz might be better aerially, but Havertz is not good on the ball.
Outlet.
Havertz just offers
better
you
at interplay.
He offers you too much. It's too much.
He is better at interplay. He's a better outlet.
I don't think you guys watch Dominic Solanke.
His understanding of space.
Did you watch him
arrival into space?
Bournemouth?
It's better. He is what Solanke is a better like out and out number 9 in terms of ball striking, in terms of like being able to like sniff out the cutbacks. But Havertz is just as good at sniffing out cutbacks. Like the point is I get Triti's point, and I get your point because obviously you look at numbers, but like as a team that has seen Havertz since he became a striker,
bro, Havertz could barely break double
digits
than
Solanke. He is.
Havertz could barely break double digits at a better team, though. He was at a better team that created more chances, and he didn't beat him for goals. So I don't know where the argument.
I mean,
he
didn't start,
and that's why I said that point. Wait, that's why I said as a striker because he played half the season, more than half of it, as from
So I'm supposed to take someone who isn't even skilled at the position yet. He doesn't even know that's his position.
February now, and this has been the argument with Havertz is at what point does it stop being form? And that has been my argument, right? At what point does it stop being he's on form? They told us it was March verts. That's what Chelsea fans told us. We're in September. So at what point does it stop being form? And at what point is he this level of striker he has been since February? Because
so my question back to you then,
your argument is let me put it this way. If your argument is that he's not this level of striker he has been since February, then I concede and say give me Dom. If you think that we can say that this is him, because again, I keep saying at what point is it no longer just form? If you think that we can say this is him, I'm taking this over to Dominic Solanke.
No, anyway. so then my question back in the same vein is at what point is it no longer he's a midfielder playing striker, he's a striker playing midfielder? When does he own a position?
The only reason he's a striker, the only reason he might even play midfield for us this weekend is because of the suspension and injuries That's what it
Fair.
is.
So then if he's a striker, right? Then we should be allowed to criticize him solely as a striker. And when the criticism does come, and it will, I don't want to then hear, because that's the thing, is it's such a circular
In the
argument. Is
games he
when you
played as a
when you
striker, yes, criticize him as a striker in those games. You can't criticize him as a striker in games he played midfield. It doesn't add up.
that's where I feel like
Criticize him
he's
as a
eating.
striker in the games he played striker. And what has he done in those
That's where I
games?
feel like he's eating from both sides of the table, and that's where I feel like that becomes unfair, because if you played 38 games and you played half the games at midfield because they didn't know that you were a striker or whatever the case may be, whose fault is that? That the other person knows
I mean,
their
no
position
one.
and plays in their position. Because think about this: if all of a sudden City are out of midfielders, Haaland ain't going back there to play midfield. He's not. He's
Yeah,
going to
because
play in his position
he's
because
not.
he's good in that position.
He doesn't
So
have
my
that.
feeling is, if you're that good in your position, no one is displacing you to make up for somebody else being unavailable. It doesn't make sense.
But I mean,
So
it's
with the
But
Havertz
Havertz as a
conversation,
midfielder is less risk than Gabriel Jesus as a striker, for example. So it's like it makes more sense to take Havertz, put him in midfield, put Gabriel Jesus as a striker, than to leave Havertz as a striker and maybe play Nwaneri, for example, which is what we would have to do if we say Havertz is not going to play. And so that's the point where, like, when you are this out of options, obviously the guy who has played 20 something games in midfield for you, you just, okay, we don't have options. Our three first choice midfielders are out. It's our first choice midfield is Declan, Merino, Odegaard. All three of them are out. So this is unusual. So no wahala. The guy that has played it for us before will come and play it. But as a striker, like as what he has done as a striker, no, come on, it's nah. I take it.
and this is, and that's the second part of the point is, he has such a small sample size, so he gets, it's like someone who's played one game and scored one goal.
I'll give
He
you
has a
sample size.
100% record. You have a 100% record. Of course, you have a 100% record.
It's
You've only
not.
done
It's
it
no
once.
longer. He's coming on 20 games as a striker now. But I'll give you sample size argument. I'll say even 20 games.
There's no
you
sample
say
size. Even this
somebody
season,
has to do it for
who
like a
has
whole
more goals this
season, and you
season?
can say, okay, that's who they are, right? So basically, if Kai continues like this till the end of this year, I think by December nobody can say sample size.
All I'm saying is, if Dominic Solanke outscores him this season, which I think he will, I think Dominic Solanke will have more goals come the end of the season. I don't want to hear
Kai's
that. Oh,
already on.
remember,
So
I know, and that's why, and I'm still willing to say Dominic Solanke is going to outscore him convincingly. By the way,
that's a bet I would take even right now. Like Kai, because obviously
Yeah.
we want his
I'll give you the 2 goals, and I'll say even still, Dom is going to hawk
I would
him,
take that
and he's
bet.
going to pass him. I know that
I
for a
would
fact.
take that bet instantly. Kai and
All right.
Dom on no.
So all I'm saying is, at the end of the season, if that happens, I don't want to then hear, oh, but remember in that one game where he played as a midfielder, I will not. That is that
Okay, no,
fair?
exactly. So we're not.
Is that fair?
Okay, are we? Okay, we're not accounting for where they played or if they got
See,
to play. And I'm
that's
saying
what
that.
I'm saying.
Let me land. Let me land. Let me land. Let me land. Let me land.
All right,
We're not
all
accounting
right.
for where they played or if they got to play. And I'm saying that more for Dom because when Richarlison comes back, and let's assume Richarlison is like on
He's
whatever.
Dom is the starter. Don't worry about that. He's the
I
starter.
know. I'm just making a point. I'm saying hypothetically in this our discussion, if Dom essentially somehow gets to share time with Richarlison, it's not going to matter. It's going to be as long as he was available. Now, are we saying injuries as well? Because also
Injuries, of course. We're
Yeah,
going to do it on a
injuries,
games
of course.
played
But other than
basis.
injuries, as long as they were available, you were good to play. Even if they played you in midfield, that's your business.
Yeah.
Dom scoring more is
If-
what you're saying. I'm
if-
saying Havertz score more. I'll take that
Yeah.
bet. Easy. I will take that bet.
We have our first show bet. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything, crazy, but Nugar will have to come back and answer for his, because again, Arsenal fans, they hated the signing last year. They warmed up to the signing.
As a midfielder.
So now,
today, the Raptor fans that like it, I still hate it as a midfielder till today.
okay.
But as a striker, no.
But now that you guys are all on board with him as a striker, we can finally hold you accountable for that 65 million splash. And last year we didn't get to dunk because, okay, look, he was a revelation in the running. We didn't know what his position was. He's going into this year now. He's your number 9. You didn't sign anybody else. He's the guy. Clearly, even with Jesus available in the first game of the season, he was the preferred number 9. So all I'm saying is, at the end of this season, we can finally box.
Jesus was injured, but
My thing
yes,
is,
Okay.
my own view with this issue is, you guys always want to hit the wrong players. Why don't you hit on Gabriel Jesus? Why are you hating on Kai
He has
Havertz?
he has aesthetic bias, and he brings the streets to the
Bro,
pitch,
that's what I'm
man.
saying. But like Kai Havertz, in my opinion, has done well enough to not have so many rivals on his
If-
dick. Like there's
I,
no
I don't hate the guy. Well, I
that's it.
do hate
Like
the guy.
I don't
Sorry, I do
see
hate
I
the
don't
guy.
see what the
But
argument.
my hate aside for him, I'm saying, can we agree on expectations so that there can be some accountability?
Do you know the problem with that is you are choosing not to apply context. And me, why I don't go into those bets is it's not because I don't think Havertz can score 20 goals. It's our manager. Our manager is not going to play him at striker for 38 games. Our manager has
Why?
just
If he's so good at it, why?
but I'm saying
If he's
that's
better than a guy that we just
that's
spent 60 million
that's
on
that's
at number
our
9.
manager. He's going
All
to
right.
go into games
You think
and
if your manager
and
had Haaland, he would be
everything.
doing that? Would
That's
he?
it. But I'm
He
saying
wouldn't.
he's not Haaland. Nobody is Haaland. Even your Solanke is not Haaland.
Of course not. Of
That's
course
it.
not.
Haaland is different. That's it. Does Solanke score 20 goals for a side that finishes top 4?
Absolutely.
Okay,
1,000.
then fine.
And I'm willing to bet he scores 20 goals this season in the
That's it.
Premier
And
League alone.
and you have to
He
finish
scored
top 4.
19 for Bournemouth.
That's Bournemouth.
19.
That's
That's
it.
it.
That's
That's
different
even harder though.
expectations.
That's way more difficult.
It's not.
Oh,
Those goals don't mean
expectation.
You're
anything.
not looking at it.
All right.
Those goals don't mean anything. There is no pressure in those games.
I,
Bournemouth were
I,
not in
I,
any
I,
This point on pressure is right. When the pressure is harder, is
The
higher,
pressure is harder
your
at this
ability to
level.
score is different.
All right.
Also, you're facing different types of defenses when you start playing for Spurs versus when you're playing for Bournemouth. Also, he took
Okay.
penalties at Bournemouth. Also, like there's a bunch of things that went into him scoring.
He didn't score that many penalties.
Brother,
I'm not saying there were a lot of penalties, but I'm
those
saying
19
he did take
goals
penalties.
at Bournemouth
There were,
don't mean
there were
anything.
things that added to him scoring as many as he did. And your assumption that he would just score so much more because, I guess one of your arguments might be that, Spurs create more chances. Yes, but Spurs play against low blocks much more. It's
He's
like
used to playing against low blocks. That's
At
why I keep
Bournemouth?
asking. Did guys watch Bournemouth? Because against other bad teams, they pinned those guys back. He played under Iraola, and the reason why
how
we
many
went for him
teams were
is because
bad
he was
teams to them?
he was. Sorry.
You said against other bad teams, they pin teams back, and I'm like, how many teams would qualify as bad teams to Bournemouth?
Did you watch the game that they played against City? Because I don't know if anyone watched Bournemouth City in the reverse fixture. They actually had City on the ropes. The style that Iraola plays, we all know, like he's not the typical, bottom feeder kind of side. He likes to be on the front foot. The reason why we got him was because he ticked all the boxes that we needed, even in the way that we play. Not because we feel like it can translate. No, his stats were literally like he has the most pressures. He's good in pressing. He creates turnovers. He's good at linking up play. He's good at unlocking low blocks. One of the more iconic goals he scored last season was kind of Bergkamp X, where he flicks it around two guys in a crowded box and then finishes. Those are the kinds of things that you look for guys who can perform, even when their team is so-calledly expected to be on the front foot. But you know what? I'm going to agree and say end of the season, if he scored 20 goals for Spurs or if he's outscored Kai Havertz, would that qualify as him meeting expectations and scoring goals in a side, meaningful goals, quote unquote?
Me, I'm not with the Havertz bets. Me, I'm just saying if he's
forget the bet. I'm just talking about credit.
No, the credit will be scoring those 20 goals and finishing top 4. Yeah.
All right, fair. To me, that's fair. And for the fee that he cost, and the reason why I'm really big on this is because they cost similar fees, right? I think Havertz was slightly more expensive. Fair enough, whatever. He's younger. Solanke is 26. But when I look at the way that they're going, they're in similar situations, in my opinion. You guys are going for the title. We're going for top 4, but it's a step up in terms of competing within the same league. Havertz came in, he did his 14 goals. Cool. Whoop-de-woo, shake your hands. Now you're a striker. We got a striker. 60 million, 65 million. Cool. Let's go.
Yeah, that's where you are missing the point.
You're gonna not tell me he plays midfield.
No, but the thing is, if you want,
that's why it's so unfair.
No, I'm saying it's not unfair because you want to take that bet to stroke your own ego. If you are looking at things truthfully, our manager is not going to play Kai Havertz at 9 every single game, and that's what annoys me as a fan. It's what frustrates me. And I love the guy. I want him to play. I don't want to see Gabriel Jesus playing 9 for us. I only want to see number 29 Havertz at 9. But I know Arteta, just like what Nugua said, Watch on Sunday, Havertz is going to be in the midfield. Instead of him finding another solution to that midfield, hell, play Timber, play Zinchenko, play whoever, but leave Kai Havertz at 9. He won't do that. So taking that bet will just be unfair because I know the manager. The guy sees Havertz as this, I don't know what the word is, they call it
So,
tac.
so where does that leave me as a non-Arsenal fan? Because it's not like I care
I'm
what your
saying
manager
like
does.
if you wanna
If I'm saying that the best 9 in the available in the fixture is my guy, and you're saying no, it's my guy, but my guy might play midfield. You know, it's like it doesn't make
but
sense.
So,
no,
so,
no,
so,
no,
so
we're
here's the thing,
talking
right?
about
Like,
the bets. We're talking about the bet. If I'm
No,
picking
the
9,
bet. Nuga took the bet, and we already have allowances for injuries, whatever. I think that if your team is fit for majority of the season, then Havertz will play at 9 for
yeah,
majority of the season.
of
so
course.
So
that's my argument. And that's the only reason I'm comfortable with the bet. Is like, except we continue with this demonic like injury or whatever like record.
at that
At
point,
this
trust me, I'll have other cookies to cook. I wouldn't even be
Oh,
worried about Havertz.
Havertz is a starter. Like, if he's fit, he's starting 38 out of 38 games. If he's fit,
Okay.
except like he's tired or dead tired. But if he's fully fit, he's starting 38 out of 38. And if he starts 38, he's going to play striker in like, let me say, 30 of them, right? So in my mind, it's like, yeah, he might play midfield for 8 of them, but for the most part, I'm good with taking the bet because he will really be more a striker than anything else. And it's not like he can't score from midfield; it's just obviously not as easy. But and that's the only reason I don't mind taking the bet, because really our first midfield options will be Merino, Odegaard, and Declan Rice, Partey to come in, Nwaneri to come in. So like there's options around where we can survive with Havertz staying at 9 for most of the season. But yeah.
The way that we're going to solve this, right? So we always want to interact with the audience, of course. We're going to go ahead and put this is the one position we've used our vouchers, so we can't overrule each other on this one. Let the audience vote. Who do you guys think should be the starting 9 in a combined 11 between both teams? I'm saying Dominic Solanke. Both of the Arsenal fans are completely in agreement, and they're saying Kai Havertz. What do you guys think? Let's hear your opinion. And to the final position. This is one where this position in general in world football is going through tough times. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen that meme where is it tough times never last.
No, it's
but
feast and
tough
famine,
people do.
because there's some people, those ones, they are feasting because all their players are left wing. Then some other people, rest of the world, they can't find one good left wing. So
Let me say this, especially in the Premier League, that position is in absolute trouble. None of these guys are the guys that we know. Either guys are phasing out past their prime, or some guys are just underperforming. But whatever the case may be, for this particular game, and guys know me, I've been a staunch Nelly. What's the word? I'm a Nelly questioner. I'm not an enjoyer. I've been suspicious of this guy for a long. I don't think he's a fraud. I don't think he's bad. But I've always been the guy that's always been. You know, when the teacher says nobody's raising their hands, I'm just always like this. One day we'll be ready to talk about it. And obviously he had a disastrous season last year, and I'm not gonna say that I didn't enjoy it. I did enjoy it, but I don't think people are still ready to have the conversations just yet. And he started again this season, and I'm hearing for guys saying that Sterling should walk right into the team. I'm hearing some crazy takes online. So, of course, I'm putting forward one of the greatest Premier League left wingers that we've seen in recent time. The record holder for the most goals scored by a duo that he shares with his running mate, who's now gone. The guy who has won a Golden Boot. The only guy, right? The only guy in this entire combined 11 that's won a Golden Boot. I'm putting forward Heung-min Son. Does anybody have anything to say about that?
That should be unanimous. Son.
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue. I argue Son.
What do you think about Martinelli? Because Nugo, I know you like Martinelli. I know Chooks is a Martinelli enjoyer for sure. He's in sadness right now that the guy has not given him a reason to smile.
Nothing. No meal. No nothing.
Here's my thing with Martinelli. I honestly believe that he's not the same talent level as Saka. And why that's important is that Saka's the guy you can throw on an island and he'll figure shit out. That's not Nelly. Nelly needs the help. And as much as rival fans clown us for saying, oh, he needs an LCM, he needs an L left back, it is true for some players. Some players are better when they are platformed and cannot necessarily do the same things when they're not. Right. And so a lot of Arsenal fans recently over the international break, the clip of Nelly's game against Everton, last game of the season, where Saka was injured and didn't play, and Nelly played right wing in that game. And over the international break, like not Arsenal fans, sorry, were like, he was a lot better in this game than I remembered. And it was more along the lines of, also obviously Everton scored first, and so like we were tense throughout the game and hoping we could still win a title. And so fans don't really remember like Nelly's own performance. They just thought they were just mad at everybody because we were not winning. And obviously we ended up winning the game, but it still wasn't enough. But when you go back and look at Martinelli's performance, he was electric in that game. And it made sense because he had Martin Odegaard beside him. He had Ben White. There's a ball Ben White plays, like first like 10 minutes of the game, outside Trivella. And it kind of just goes and nearly goes into space and it results in a shot where Everton's keeper has to jump out and save with his T-Rex arms. And it was one of those where you saw Nelly's electricness. And it was a case of once we get that left-hand side working, we think things will come back. But until it happens, I cannot argue with folks that talk about his production and his numbers and say right now he's not helping the team as much as he should be. And so they want other people to play. And that's fair until he gets to that point where he's not helping us like he should. Then, yeah, we can then bring him back in.
Yeah, I think even from the outside looking in, I just think you can't be on that run of games without meaningful contributions. In my opinion, you're an attacker in the same way like defenders are judged by how the team is performing defensively. I think attackers have a very clear metric, and I don't care how things are working out. If you're not impactful, if you're not getting direct assists, goals, something, then no one has a divine right to wake up on the starting 11. So
the problem with Martinelli is it just seems like whenever the ball goes to him, he dies. And I saw an analogy that made me weep, where they were basically saying basically what you're saying is make the decision for him and take it out of his hand. Like, but this is not the same guy I watched 22, 23. Like he's not a player that lacks IQ, in my opinion. I don't know what's going on. If it's like maybe the left hand dynamics, whatever. But he
I
just
think so. You're not wrong because what you're saying is right. Look at how we play. Like literally, the way we play is literally how you know. Our LCM in possession, because it's usually Kai or Declan, has to be up. And so because our LCM is usually up, when Nelly gets the ball, there's nobody in the pocket beside him. The way Odegaard hangs back in the pocket, right? On the right-hand side, Odegaard is in the pocket. Saka is outright by the touchline. And Ben White is behind Saka, waiting to give an overlap. We don't have that on the left. There's nobody in the pocket. That pocket is always empty. The LCM is usually on the last line. That's the way we play. Because that's why Saka keeps swinging in those in-swinging crosses. And so Nelly usually has one. He always actually has two people. And because he only has two people, he usually always just goes to his pace. Let me try and see if I can run faster than you guys. Because otherwise, I would have to then take on two people. And there's no 1-2 I can do. So
I always hear that. But my pushback on that is always, as an attacker, what does left hand side dynamics? What does over under or pocket lap? What does that have to do with you taking your chances? Because I'll see some games where like he's missed some easy ones, and then people will be like, this left hand side is like, okay, I get that in terms of if you say where he's picking the ball up, how much he can affect the game. What the hell does that have to do with you when you finally now gotten your chance?
The
Villa
game,
there has to be responsibility there on the player.
The Villa game was all on him. That one where he ran, just give a professional pass, and he just overkicked. Another one too. He had the ball and he just runs himself into an island. Like those little things, I cannot blame the left hand side. Obviously, the left-hand side, is very much dead than the right-hand side, but he's just had chances where the Nelly I knew 22-23 was the guy that got us those those goals that once he had the chance and he had somebody in front of him to beat.
There was an argument
This
that he was
man,
your best finisher.
hey man,
There was an
Nuba,
argument.
Nuba wasn't watching this show last year before Bayern. Do you know my whole thing about Bayern Munich was why I was so confident was I'm like, man, Kimmich does not want this smoke for 90 minutes. And Martinelli went there to pollute the air. The guy messed everywhere, man, in that stadium. And just gave Kimmich a good time. Like Martinelli used to be the guy that, you know, I thought like he has that fear factor to him that defenders remember what he used to do to Trent, even though we'll still lose those games. Like, like he's going at it, he's making you think, man, I'm not giving up on my boy, but he needs
Martinelli
to
works a
keep
lot better when there's space. He's a lot like Pedro Neto, where if
That's
you're
a good
playing
comp. That's a good comp. I like that
defenses,
one.
if
yeah.
you're playing defenses that are sitting back, I don't know that you want him. And it's why if you those that follow my timeline, they'll see that I've started this very silent push for Kudus as my marquee left winger next year. Because what you want when you have teams that play teams that sit back, you want pace in case you go and play one Champions League game in Benabar or something. But 90% of your games, you want the guy who will stand where there's three defenders and he will walk through them with the ball and get into that 18 and play a cross or take a shot. And that's not Martinelli. And that's why in 2020, 2023, 2023, where we're coming from a season where we're fifth and teams felt we can attack us now. They were attacking us and Nelly was killing all of them because they were giving us space. It's like Pedro Neto. You give him space, that's what happened to you. But last year, when teams were like, okay, they are a top team now, they are basically almost on Man City level. Let us drop back. It became a lot harder for Martinelli. And on top of the fact that teams drop back, on top of teams dropping back, we removed the Xhaka that was manageably there, giving him some level of connection. We removed the Zinchenko that was playing, and it's like, so things didn't look the way they did the year before. And Martinelli suffered very, very heavily for it, which is why I still have some faith in him. Because I'm like, even if you bring back just one or two of those things, he can still get there. But in the meantime, you're right. Until he has to put up some numbers, and that's why I don't argue things like this. Son would definitely be my choice there.
Perfect. So to bring it back to the combined 11, this is what we have tentatively agreed on. In goal, we got a unanimous decision on David Raya. My boy Vic, I love you, bro, but you got to step up. Right back, I overruled the Arsenal fans as much as they wanted Ben White. I used my one vote off the island, and I got that boy out off the island because he should be on Love Island anyway. And we got my boy Pedro Porro in there, so we got Pedro Porro at right back. Left back, we've got Destiny Udoji, who I think is the best young fullback in the entire country of Italy. And I'm not hearing about no Calafiori. And our center back pairing, Saliba and Gabriel, there wasn't much I could do. I tried to fight for Romero, but it is what it is. At DM, we got Jorginho. Now this is based on availability. So just rehashing that. So we've got Jorginho at DM. We've got Bentancur at L or RCM, whatever is the center midfielder, and Madison at Cam. Bukayo Saka off the right. Heung-min Son off the left. And striker, we're leaving that up to you guys. I'm going to put up a poll, some type of vote system. I want to see, because I think it's actually interesting. Dominic Solanke versus Kai Havertz. Who do you think is the better 9? Specifically, who do you think is the better number 9? So it'd be interesting to see everybody's comments back. But to close the show, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a score prediction, and we're going to do a season projection. Where do you think your team's going to finish based on the form so far, based on the evidence so far? What do you think is the outlook for your team? What do you think the score will be on Sunday? And then we'll close the show, of course, with Nugua saying something negative about his rival. And I know he's been eager to do that. It was very hard for him to say something positive. I'm sure it'd be equally as easy. So what I'll do is I'll start, and then we'll do Chooks, and then Nugua, you'll go, and then you close the show with the negative thing, because that's how we like to end on negativity. That's just what we do here. So for me, I think the score on Sunday, this is more of a demand. It's not a prediction. I think the game is going to be open, it's going to be competitive, but this is more of a demand to my coach because we cannot lose to these guys 3 times in a row at home. We cannot have another performance that is underwhelming in this season because we've already dropped 4 points. Um, so, what I want to see, the result that I expect to see on Sunday morning in the US is I need to see us beat this team, and I need to see us beat this team in convincing fashion. And it doesn't have to be a dominant scoreline, but I need to know that we can beat this team when they're at their weakest. If we cannot beat this team at their weakest, then I don't even understand what else is going on with this project. So my prediction is going to be 3-1. Um, that's a very popular NLD Derby scoreline. We've had so many 3-1s, it's almost ridiculous. But I think it's going to be 3-1. I think that we're just going to be sharper. We're going to be able to take our chances. I think we're going to have a lot of chances. We're going to have more of the possession. And I think that it's going to boil down to can we hold our nerve when they break on us, and can we take our chances in front of goal? And I'm backing my boy Solanke to be on the double. Solanke on the double, 3-1 Spurs. And I think we're going to go on to finish this season fifth. That was my preseason prediction. No, my preseason prediction was fourth. I'm now amending it to fifth, but I think fifth will be enough to get into the Champions League because we'll get the coefficient. So that's my season outlook. Choose.
Um, what they say, man. Debbie days, form is out the window. I need a higher form of terrorism from my manager. I need the kind of terrorism that hasn't been seen before. I honestly think we can get out of there with a win. We just have to frustrate you guys long enough, similar to what we did last season, where we didn't have much possession. We need a few set pieces. Let's touch big's gloves again. Let's let Ben White go and do some dark arts. But we're in the title race, man. My boys need to wake up. I'm predicting a very, very, very close 2-1 to the Arsenal. And Uzo, as I told you, I'm the captain of the Arsenal Titanic, man. My prediction stays the same. First place winning the league. I'm going down with that until it's mathematically impossible.
If your scoreline holds, brother, you're gonna see me on a different planet come Sunday podcast, man. I am going to be insufferably mad. Uh, all right, Nugar, we haven't heard Nugar's predictions. So the way you're gonna do your predictions is what did you have Arsenal finishing before the season started, and what do you have them finishing now? And then of course the score prediction and something negative about us.
This is obviously going to be seen as me chickening out on my initial prediction. But as for what I saw Arsenal doing before the start of the season, I saw us winning champions, outright champions. Now, my prediction has changed a little bit in that I think we will be champions, but I think we will only be champions because City will get the ban. And it means mathematically we probably come second. And that's because Gundogan came to them 2 weeks to the season starting. I did not see them adding Gundogan back. When you add Gundogan with already a backup of Kovacic and Nunes, that team is incredibly deep in midfield at least. In defense, that's a different story, but they don't defend much anyway. Midfield is what they use and they're stacked. And seeing the way they've started, seeing the way Haaland has started, it's like, yeah. But I think the verdict will save us, and that's why we'll still win the title. That's with regards to the prediction. For the game is a head and heart thing, two different things, where I would love us to beat you. I think there's a level of terrorism that we can play where we win. But just because Spurs will want to die on that pitch, like why would we beat you people 3 times in a row? Like if we win, we've won more at that stadium than you, which is typical. Like we've won the title more than you guys in your own stadium. But it's like you know, it's so yeah, I see people dying on the line essentially using the Nigerianism. I see people dying on the line, and if you go down the line, I think it's a draw. I'd say 2-2.
I'm hearing that even at our best, we can only at best get a draw. Wow, this is how the mighty have fallen. Derby days used to be special, man.
Yeah, the only reason you have a chance is because we don't have our midfield. So
Oh, brother, here
Hey
comes
man,
the
we're going in there. Nasty terrorism ball. We
nasty
leave it at
terrorism ball,
2-1.
and
Wow,
I see
we're leaving it at
there's a
2-1.
very possible 2-1 win, but it's all look for me. Banter aside, I think that game is all about the first 35 minutes. Spurs are going to come at us. If Spurs do not score, the tension will start, and that's where we can kill you people. But
All I need is one or two corners. I'm not asking for too much. I'm not here
what
to hold
happened to the
possession.
beautiful game, man?
Me,
What
I'm,
happened to the
I'm not here
beautiful
to hold
game?
possession with Ange Ball. We already know how special Ange Ball is. All I need is one or two corners. I need Sterling to just hold the line. One long pass,
that hugging the line is important. Like I don't know who like
Ah,
Arteta is going to
Raheem,
start on the left, but he has to start. If it's not Raheem, it has to be Martinelli. I know we
Ra-
love Trossard, but it
Raheem,
has to be
Matty
one of
who?
them.
Eh,
If
this,
it's
this
not,
is not this
if
is not
it's
this,
not,
this is not a
because
game
it's
for
speed.
Dognelli.
Aston Villa sat back. That's what you're
This
missing.
is not
Choose,
this is not
choose,
a game for
choose.
Dognelli. Let's
No,
save
no,
him
no, no,
for
no, no, no,
Leicester.
no.
Let's
Choose.
let,
You are,
let's
you
save
are
him for
missing it.
Leicester.
Aston Villa sat back. That's why Nelly looked as bad as he did. Spurs are coming at us. Poro is going to live in our own 18.
Brother, brother,
This is the game
brother.
for Martinelli. But I'll take Sterling. I'm saying leave it. I'll take Sterling. I'll take Sterling. The point is we need speed. I don't want it to be Trossard. I need someone who will
We
run,
need
reach the front of the goalkeeper and take a shot.
no,
And
no.
that's so I'll take Sterling. But yes, we need
tell
that.
tell God's son that he's not seeing Ben Davies here, bro. My boy
Ah,
Destiny
what
is
you
back.
cool? What you
Destiny
cool?
Destiny
What you
wants
cool
that
with
rematch.
you? Majesty celebration.
You
Hey,
remember
hey.
you remember what Destiny did to this guy when we came to your ends and
Oh, he
smacked you
scored.
guys around
Saka,
early in the
Saka scored
season.
two goals
This
that game too, innit?
penalty. Come on. Oh, come on, man.
Penalty. Oh yeah, and
Penalty and a
Own goal was
deflection.
basically him.
Penalty
Saka,
and a
every single
deflection.
game we play Spurs, Saka causes an own goal. Have you noticed it? Go back and check.
No, I think what you mean to say
Every
is
single
Spurs
season, sorry.
Spurs cause
He
an own
causes
goal.
a Spurs own goal every
Spurs,
single season.
we're the ones that cause the own goal ourselves because we're our own. But remember, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg out of there, bro. We don't have bozos anymore, bro.
Okay.
There's no bozos left.
Romero
You guys-
was the one who caused the own goal 2 seasons
Well,
ago.
no, it was just last season.
Sorry, last season was
But
Romero.
that deflection was him attempting to block the shot, and it was a good
Okay,
deflection.
but why? So why can't that happen again on Sunday?
Because you're not gonna have that many shots. Destiny is on the job. Destiny is on the job. I believe in my boys. Honestly, I believe that we're up. I remember the Chelsea
Play
game.
that game, the one that Saka actually made Romero score an own goal.
Yeah,
You know that.
but he locked up Saka that game. Everyone will tell you that.
Okay, but
Saka
Saka
scored a penalty and a deflection. That's fine. It can happen to anybody. You guys love context. You love context, right?
Hey,
Besides
man,
that,
penalty,
nothing else.
Penalty deflection.
I mean, of course,
game-
Why do I care?
it's the
game
NLD.
before,
There's
the
going
game
to be some
before.
craziness, of course.
The game and then the Ben Davies game. No problem. Bring
That
Destiny.
Ben Davies goal. That's that one. I give you
Hey,
guys that goal.
man.
My manager was
Give us-
absolutely out of his mind.
Whether
Leaving Ben Davies to go 1v1 against Saka.
Nugua.
I mean, I don't even think if we came and did special appearance coaching, any of us would ever do that.
Nugua,
So-
tell him whether
Okay.
it's Destiny Udogi, Destiny's Child, Destiny
All right.
5, Destiny
All right.
Children.
We're
That's
gonna
Saka go.
no. We're gonna turn God's son into Destiny's
Hey.
child. Don't worry. You're
Hey.
just giving me my tagline for next episode. We're gonna
Hey,
turn
man.
God's son into Destiny's
As long
child.
as Saka is not
and we'll be
injured,
here.
as long as
We'll
Saka
be
is
here.
not injured, I am
Oh,
away.
of course. When is he not injured?
Udogi,
When is he not injured?
Udogi, welcome,
Oh, he's always limping. All right, don't worry. We're gonna give him a
Brother.
real reason to limp after the game.
brother Udogi. This is a battle for who is Nigerian. Both of them ran away from their real
This
country.
a battle of diaspora. Don't worry, we're gonna be there. IJGB. We'll see who's the real muscle man. Because I loved Destiny's performance at the Emirates, and I thought that was a much
No, he
worse
played.
atmosphere.
He played well. The thing about Saka is just even when it looks like he's struggling, he has that moment in him to just create something. I honestly feel like you should take out Havertz or whoever is going to play the left wing more importantly than taking out Saka. Because now that there's no Odegaard, we might finally see a whole different side. And honestly, that's the thing I'm just so excited to watch is Saka just operating just him. I want to see what that looks like.
Me too.
And
We
this is
will.
not even for Tottenham, it's not for Uzo. Robert Perez better pray Saka stinks. Cause trust, Saka hype doesn't forget. You saw what we did to Ian Wright. We got him out of here. We gave Walcott his job. Perez, pray. Pray
Okay.
that Saka stinks. Cause me for sure I'd not forget. I'll be here on Sunday. Don't
We'll,
allow that
we'll,
boy to live with something.
we will all be here on Sunday, and hopefully, if the result goes well, we'll be bringing Nugua to answer for his crimes. We'll be bringing Chooks. Of course, Chooks will be here, nowhere to hide.
Hey
He's the
man,
captain of the Titanic. He's going down with the ship.
we're not like George. We don't hide.
No hiding. No hiding happens on Football Fan Zone for
There's no
sure.
hiding.
Um,
You have to be back here.
to round up the episode, Nugua, thanks for coming. Thanks for being on the pod. This is as nice as we're gonna be for the next 48 or 96 hours. Everyone knows how NLD goes. It's not a good week. It's
It's
not a
not.
good week there's no friendship, there's no kinship, but we'll be here, man. We're gonna watch the game and let's see what happens. You have the floor. Something negative about Spurs and sign us off.
It's great that we my tagline is what it is, because it's one thing to be a team that has won to have won something in your own house, and then the people you hate the most, like, I don't think people deep it, the people you hate the most have won that thing. That's them just shitting on you, and they call you shit, they keep calling you shit, they keep calling you shit. Then you decided to build a stadium and you made it into a toilet bowl. Like, it's so poetic. So thank you guys for always being that source of inspiration to us. No matter how bad our week is going, we just have to look down the road, and you are there to make us happy. So thank you.
Ah.
Like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna go and put ice on my head after hearing that. I think